LEGO has released so many good Star Wars sets, but many of these sets are often completely overlooked or even hated on, despite being rather good in their own different ways. Today, I want to look at some more of the most underrated LEGO Star Wars sets, and cover why I think these sets are actually quite good, despite often being disregarded by the community. The first set I want to talk about is the Spider Tank, released in 2023 for The Mandalorian Season 3. This was one of the few sets we actually saw for this season, and it wasn't received too kindly by the community, as it was a rather strange one to have made before some of the others. The main attraction in this set, of course, is the minifigure selection, mainly that brand new Bo-Katan included in this set. This is by far one of the best minifigures LEGO has released in recent years, and way better than her previous minifigure, and definitely the highlight of the set. The rest of the set is alright, and I really like the look of the tank too, with a decent build and a few features here and there as well. For $50, I don't think it is as badly priced as some people might have thought, especially when comparing to some other sets recently released as well. Overall, I think the hate on this set is a bit much, but let me know down below what you think about this one. LEGO recently released a brand new battle pack based on Ahsoka, and this was the Night Troopers battle pack. Now this one receives a lot of hate online, and in some ways I really do understand that. The build is very bad and very minimal, and of course, you cannot expect that much from a battle pack build, but this is way worse than what we see with other recent sets. The second issue is the price, as this one is retailed for $22. However, that just seems to be an issue in the United States, as where I live, in South Africa, this is actually cheaper than previous battle packs at this size, by about $2. Anyway, the main thing here of course are the minifigures again, and they are very good. Sure, the stormtroopers have larger helmet pieces once again, but by now that is something to simply get used to. And the two Death Troopers are just very good minifigures, and I am so excited that the Death Trooper is back in LEGO in some way at least. I am very excited about the idea of this battle pack, despite its flaws, and I think it is much better than some people let on. Once again from Ahsoka, I want to look at the T6 Jedi Shuttle released for the show. This was one of the first sets to release alongside Season 1, and I always thought it was just such a good set. However, I see so much complaints about this one online, either about the design feeling a bit poor, or about the price of course too. $80 for this one is a bit steep, but then again the set still feels like better value compared to many of the $70 sets currently available, so that pricing does make sense in a way. Regardless, this one is also on sale rather often too. The next one is going to be a bit controversial, but I think the 2021 Slave one is actually a bit underrated, and looking back, for what you pay, it feels very good. This smaller sized Slave one released for $50 for The Mandalorian Season 2, and it was the first time we saw a significantly downscaled version of this set. Comparing to the 2019 Slave one, this newer one did not compete at all, and with that in mind, people really hated this set. However, considering that this one is $70 cheaper than the previous set, you really can't complain. It gave fans a way to still get this beloved ship in LEGO for an affordable price, while still keeping enough detail and good minifigures. Today, we saw the same treatment for the Jango Fett Slave one, just for $70 this time, which, in my opinion, still feels fair enough. And the smaller Slave 1 sets are starting to grow on me. The Rise of Skywalker introduced many good sets to LEGO Star Wars, but some of these are quite underrated today, especially the Pisana Speeder Chase. So at the time, this set was also quite overlooked and considered rather boring, although to me, it always just looked so cool, and is in my top favorites of sequel-based sets. This one included two different speeder-like vehicles, with a small first order speeder bike, and this reddish skiff-like vehicle that I always thought looked so cool. We get 4 minifigures in this one as well, nothing too significant or spectacular, but it works well in this kind of set, and overall it just feels like a very well-rounded set from this movie. Despite retiring around 5 years ago though, this one is still around retail price, so I'd say it is definitely worth getting. Jumping back quite a few years, I want to look at arguably one of the worst MTTs LEGO has ever released, being the 2014 set based on the Phantom Menace. This one was incredibly hated on due to the fact that it was nowhere near the same quality as the 2007 set, which is often regarded to be a top 10 best LEGO Star Wars set. Despite the obvious fact that it is way worse than that 2007 MTT, I think this set is still decent and often incredibly underrated. For $90 at the time, it was pretty fairly priced and had quite a bit to offer, with a decent build at this scale, a handful of good minifigures, including 8 battle droids in total, and just overall a decent playset. Despite being much smaller than what people hoped to see, I think it still did its job fairly well here. Jumping back to some sequel-based sets, I want to look at the Resistance ITS Transport, based on Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. This is overall an incredibly forgotten LEGO Star Wars set, as nobody really ever talked about it, and despite being retired, it often still shows up at some toy stores in some areas, for less than retail price. Despite being so overlooked, I think this set is very good, and I have talked about it quite a few times on this channel too. The design is very nice, and the grey and blue color scheme works incredibly well with many other Resistance-based vehicles we have seen in LEGO. The minifigure selection included is also pretty good, although many of these characters are completely unrecognizable to most fans, as they are a part of such a niche part of the Star Wars galaxy. If you manage to see this one somewhere at a good price, I would say it is definitely worth getting and giving a try. Next, I briefly want to look at the Duel on Starkiller Base, another set I have talked about a bit in some previous videos. This is in my opinion what a $20 Duel set should have looked like, and felt even better than the Duel on Mustafar, at least in terms of the actual build. This small diorama-like set is perfect for both play and display, as it is built really well at the size and just looks very good too. I would have loved to see some kind of remake of this in a proper diorama style for the 10th anniversary this year. But still, looking back, this was just really good. The final set I want to look at goes back all the way to 2012, and that is the Republic Striker Class Starfighter from the Old Republic. This was one of the few sets based on this part of Star Wars, and is one of the less popular sets from this sub-theme, overshadowed by sets like the Sith Infiltrator, which is one of the most sought after sets from the wave. However, I think the set is still so cool, and was definitely such a good set back in 2012, with a neat design and a fun set of minifigures that still holds up today. I think Satil Shan alone is one of the best minifigures of 2012, and a minifigure that still holds up today, and overall, it feels like this set was quite ahead of its time. But all that said, let me know what you think about these down below, and then I will see you all in the next one. God bless you, and cheers.